communication specialist and social media expert, Alan Stevens. Hello to you, Alan. Thanks very much for being with us this afternoon.
A pleasure.
What would your advice be to Ollie Robinson right now?
Well, sort of advice when he's facing a fast bowler, keep your head down. Because obviously he's done something a long time ago. It's about a decade ago, so we know that was quite a while ago, and people can do things when they're young and foolish. But nevertheless, he did it. He was an adult just about, and that means he's got to take responsibility for it, keep his head down for a while, and try and rehabilitate himself.
He has apologised unreservedly, but it was a very tightly scripted apology, very much controlled by the ECB, wasn't it? Do you think that was the right approach, or should we have heard from the real Ollie Robinson, do you think?
I think the ECB are trying to control these things very carefully. Governing bodies tend to do that, and I'm sure he'll be told to read out what's on the paper or what's on the auto cue. And I think that's the right thing, because obviously they don't want the scandal to get any worse. I think they can control it, they can manage it, and he can come back, not immediately, but after a short delay. And I think that's the best way to handle these things.
And in coming back, what do you think he needs to do?
Well, clearly he needs to be contrite, and I think we've got to believe that. We've got to believe that he's done it. But the most important thing, he mustn't do anything like this ever again. So if he ever gets tempted to post anything, perhaps late at night or in whatever circumstance, stay his hand. Don't do it.
Yeah, on the one hand, we're talking about a sportsman who's still young, and these were tweets that were sent in his teens. On the other hand, he is a role model. Does he therefore need to be held to a higher standard?
I think to some extent, yes, but I think we all need to remember that whatever any of us does on social media becomes permanent. Even if we try and delete it shortly afterwards, it's still there as a permanent record, and it can affect any of us. It can affect our reputation, it can affect our career. So yes, sports people are higher profile, they do tend to be held to a higher standard, but it applies to every single one of us too.
Yeah, and you talk about that permanent record of what has been said on social media. How much advice is given to professional sports people, those in the public eye, about how they handle that?
I think 2 words, not enough. I know he was a second team player when this sort of thing was posted, and the other England player that we don't know the identity of yet was under 16 at the time, so they may not have got advice. But this is the sort of thing we should be teaching our children in schools. It can affect their career, it can affect their future. So whether they're going to go into sport or any other venture, it doesn't matter. They still need to know that whatever they post can be permanent and can affect them much later in life.
Yeah, well, we were having this discussion at my children's school yesterday, in fact, about the kind of guidance that needs to be given to young people, because employers, regardless of what field you're going to go into, how much do they look into someone's social media history before taking them on?
Most employers these days look a lot. They look a great deal, and in fact they take as much notice of these sorts of things as they do of the interview. So I always apply, and I'm a parent and I'm a school governor as well, and I apply the grandmother's fridge test. If you wouldn't put it on a note on your grandmother's fridge, don't post it on social media.
What about the ability to clean up your social media history? I wonder if there will be many in the public eye now rapidly going through historical tweets and trying to get rid of them.
Well, I'm sure that when Wisden found this tweet from this other unnamed cricketer, they were delving pretty deep. And I'm sure that's happened. I'm sure everyone in every sporting team is now looking nervously over their shoulder at their social media, trying to find out what they did. You can delete all of your social media, of course. I think, Stormzy did it a little while ago, deleted all of his social media channels. So it can be done, but nevertheless, somebody may have taken a picture of that. Somebody could have taken a copy. You can never permanently delete things.
When you look at the role that social media plays for those in the public eye, considering the abuse that sportsmen and women get, Marcus Rashford, one of the latest examples, for example, and what we're seeing here with Ollie Robinson, the risk of saying something offensive that comes back to haunt you years later, you do ask the question, what advantage is there to being on social media, don't you? You do, and some high-profile people have dropped out completely. Because it can cause stress, pain, it can cause mental anguish, even mental illness in some cases. It's very, very severe. And there are 2 things. One is we've got to catch the idiots who are doing this and treat them most severely. And the other is we've got to warn people that whatever you post, it becomes a permanent record, and therefore you need to think twice and think again before you post anything. I like the granny fridge test as well, Alan. Good advice there. Alan Stevens.